Hi, welcome grade 8s to a math lesson on fractions and problem solving. We're going to look at 3.8 in the textbook. And there's two things I want to lead with first. Number one, if you have mastery over problem solving with fractions, you are mastering many outcomes simultaneously. Fractions are considered a benchmark framework of how a kid learns. If you can imagine different size fractions, add them, subtract them, divide them, multiply them, represent them as symbols, pictures, and relate them to real world situations. You are of high intelligence and mastery in many math concepts. So this is kind of going to be a bit of a test. But there's also a fourth test to this. It's the admin function on it. Many of you who are very good at math, you're really good at numbers, following algorithms. You've struggled a little bit with the models that I've given you, but you've gotten better over the year. However, one thing that pervades is you get your quiz back, and I often get this face. Oh, geez. And you know exactly what you did wrong right away. It's just, you forgot to review it. So I want you to be very particular in this assignment and in the coming quiz that you need to read it carefully and write each idea down one thing at a time. Don't forget to think, right? Then use estimation first. What's my estimate? Then solve it. And once you think you've solved it, you need to review and ask yourself, did I answer the question? That's when you look at the final sentence of the question and see, did you indeed answer it? And then 5, is my answer reasonable, right? So don't forget, read carefully and think, estimate, solve, review the question, is it reasonable? You do those 5 things, you will slam dunk this. Well, I'd say like Michael Jordan, but you guys aren't old enough for that, but maybe you know who that is. We'll say LeBron James. I don't know if he jams. Anyway, let's get into our math for this week. The first thing you will likely notice is it says post is still under editing. However, by the time you're doing this assignment, you'll have everything. So let's take a look. Problem solving with fractions. And here I say it is very important for you to do those 5 things. Let's take a look. Solving problems with fractions. A grade 8 class is going to a canoe competition. 24 students in the class. Each canoe holds 4 people. How many canoes does each class need? How did you know which operation to use? So right now I want you to pause this video and I want you to think to yourself, what is the operation that we are about to use? Now, while I was thinking about that, I thought, first I'm going to go think. I am going to draw a picture. So I drew a picture and I thought, this is what it would probably look like. Here's my canoes, and you can see there's 4 people in each canoe, and I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. But of course I didn't need to do that, because look, I can just go 24 kids divided into groups of 4. However, it's really easy to do this. Hence, drawing the picture can be useful, but hopefully you didn't make that mistake. Now, probably right away, it was almost immediate that you went, this is a division question. Well, this was probably problematic when you were younger, and you would often use wrong operations. Well, that's what we're going to be talking about today. The first thing is, what operation do you need? Well, let's take a look at a sample problem. Now, if I were you, I might even pause and try to solve this, but there's several operations in here. Aiden wants his fruit punch recipe. How many cups of punch does the recipe make? So first, on the count of 3, I want you to say to yourself, what is it? What is our operation? Is it going to be plus, minus, multiply, or divide? 1, 2, 3, addition. Yes, you're adding them up. If I've got a 7/8 of a cup, 2/3 of a cup, 3/4 of a cup, 1/4 of a cup, and 1/3 of a cup, I have to add it. Let's do a very quick review of that. Now here is our problem. We've got 1/8 plus 2/3 plus 3/4 plus 1/4 plus 1/3. How did I get that? I was adding up all of these cups here. Now the first problem, I need the numerator or the denominators to be the same. As you see, they do not line up. So to do that, I need to come up with a common multiple of each. And with the magic of video, that's going to happen poof right here. So as you can see, I've made a list of multiples of 8, 3, and 4, and I've found 24 is a common multiple they can all go into. So now I'm going to use that power to change up my problem up above. I will pause it and show you in a moment. So now you can see I have applied what I had. I needed to get all of these to 24. 8 times 3 is 24, 3 times 8, 4 times 6, 4 times 6, etc. Always do the same to the top and the bottom. So once I put all this together, I ended up with 3 over 24 plus 16 24ths plus 18 plus 6 plus 8. My denominators are now identical. Check. So now I add up the numerators, not the denominators, and I get 51 over 24. But that is an improper fraction, so I switch it to a proper mixed number. That is 2 with 3 24ths left. But I can simplify that further to 2 and 1/8. Now, I told you it's really important. First, think. I did. I wrote it down. Then I did the solving. But now I need to look back and I need to ask myself, did I answer the question? Okay, let's see if I answered the question. How many cups does the recipe make? Yep, I think I answered it. Now I need estimation and ask myself, is it reasonable? So, an estimate. When I look here, let's see, 2/3 and 3/4, that's about 1.5. And then that and that, well, that's about 2 and a bit right there. So my estimate, 2 and a bit. Is it 2 and a bit? Ding, ding. I estimated, I did answer the question. I think I'm good to go. I'm confident I will now move on. So let's look at the rest. Suppose Aiden makes punch and then pours himself 3/4 of a cup. Okay, well now that we know how many cups he has and he pours 3/4, it says how much does he have left? So how many or what kind of operation do we want? Plus, minus, divide, or multiply. Let's say it on the count of 3. 1, 2, 3. Subtraction. I think it's, by the way, if any of you actually said it out loud, I think that is cute as a button. Anyhow, I need to take my numbers here. How much is it? We had 2 and 8 cups, and he drank 3/4. Well, what my first thing to do here is I need to figure out how to get these together. Well, I'm going to make this into an improper fraction first because I want to know exactly what I'm dealing with. There we go. But now these are lining up, and if I want to add or subtract, I learned in grade 7, those denominators have to be the same. So I've got to do this. Let's rewrite that question. Ready to go. 17 minus 6 equals 11 over 8. Now let's put that as a mixed number properly. And do I need to simplify it all? No. All right, now let's ask ourselves, did I answer the question? Well, let's take a look. How much does he have left? Yes, I answered the question. Now let's estimate and ask ourselves if it's reasonable. I've got 2 1/8 minus 3/4. Yeah, it's going to be like, I don't know, like 1 1/3 left or so. Yeah, it's about 1 1/3. Good to go. Feel confident. Move on. Let's just see how our video is doing. We are at the 9-minute mark, so let's put on the gas. So yes, number 3, suppose he only has 1/3 cup of pineapple juice. How much are the other ingredients? Well, let's see, pineapple juice, he's got 2/3. Well, that means he only has half as much as he needs. Well, that means I'm gonna have to change the other ones into half as much. Let's see, if I'm changing something from that to half as much, what is my operation? Say it on the count of 3. 1, 2, 3. Division. I'm cutting it in half. I'm cutting it by 2. I'm taking each thing and cutting it into 2 pieces. So if I have 2/3 and I cut it into 2 pieces, then I have 1/3 for each. So I just need to take each one and cut them in half. So for example, if I look at the cranberry juice divided by 2. Wait, I think there was a 1/4 cup of cranberry juice. There we go. Now, the first step to dividing fractions, if I recall, I'm just going to make that look the And I can do that flip method that we've talked about. So I can flip the sign, opposite of division is multiplication. The flip or reciprocal of 2 over 1 is 1 over 2. And when we multiply, though, unlike addition and subtraction, we do the top and bottom. 1 times 1, 4 times 2, 1/8. Now, we're supposed to estimate and we're supposed to check, is it reasonable? So, estimating. If I cut a quarter into 2, would I get an eighth? Yes, I think I would. So I'm confident I didn't misunderstand or mislead myself in any way. I'm not going to get my quiz back from Mr. Ewert and then go, oh, again, like I do almost every week. And there you go. Last one we've got here. Suppose he decides to make 1/3 of the recipe. And then once again, we are dividing again. So let's take a look down. Here we go. Example number 1. Cassie worked on her science project for 3/4 of an hour on Tuesday, 5/6 of an hour on Wednesday. She spent Thursday finishing her math homework. How long did she work on it altogether? Well, first, what's our operation? It's addition. What do we have to add together? The times that she spent. That's 3/4 plus 5/6. Don't forget, you need to have the denominator the same. You need to then add just the top. Let's take a look at what that looks like. So she worked 3/4 of an hour the first day, 5/6 of an hour the next day, and we're asked how much in total. So that is an addition. So I need the bottoms the same. So I found a common multiple between 4 and 6. So to get to 12 for common multiple, 4 times 3, same top bottom. To get to 12 with 6, 6 times 2, same top bottom. Now I have a new equation. Don't add the bottoms. Don't jimmy this one up. 9 plus 10 is 19 over 12. Now let's turn this into a mixed number. Do we need to simplify at all? No, we are good. But wait, let's estimate and see if we are correct. So let's check it out. It says 3/4 and 5/6. Well, 3/4 plus almost 1. That's like almost 1 3/4. Is that almost 1 3/4? Check. We've got it. All right, how much longer did Cassie work on the project on Wednesday than Tuesday? Very similar, but now we need to minus the Wednesday from the Tuesday. Don't forget to put your denominators the same before you do it. Altogether, she spent 2 hours of work on the 3 days. How long did she spend on her math homework? Well, now we need to take that 2 hours minus the 1 7/12 she worked on those 2 days. Then we know how much she worked on Thursday. Here are the answers to all of those that you can look a little more carefully on your PDF. And you know what? I think we've had enough examples, but I'm going to suggest take a look at this one here. That might help you out as well. As I usually say, make sure you look at the examples first. This week, we're going to be starting at 3 because we usually start that high. We are going to be going up to number 14. And on Wednesday, I suggest you might want to come in. I'll probably be talking about number 15. I really appreciate those of you who are coming into optional study hall and asking questions. I do need to remind you before coming to study hall, the expectation is that you have watched the video lesson, looked over your assignment, and have some questions ready to talk about. I hope this was a good lesson for you. I'm hoping it's going to upload well for us and get outside because we're inside too much in this COVID-19 world. Have a good one, grade 8s.